Feely, Evertonian.
My name's Kathy Kegg and I'm an Everton supporter.
Danny Lee Jones and support Everton.
My name's Keith Mullen and I support Everton FC, last of the Mohicans. Everton's origins.
1878.
They originally used to play football at St Domingo's.
St Domingo. It's where I live. It's actually a Methodist. It was a Methodist church on Breckfield Road. It was actually the Australian cricket team what started Everton Football Club.
To keep them fit so as they could play cricket during the summer.
And in the winter we began association football. It took off at that time.
We originally played at Anfield.
The club actually began over that fence over there in the Mayfield, went up to another field, the Dairy Field, some call it Anfield.
You've got 1,000,001 sort of different interpretations of history of what happened over the rent thing. We get called rent dodgers and they get called the landlords, you know. And
we decided that we wasn't having slum landlordism in the 1890s, so we relocated.
And we moved out and moved to Goodison Park.
They went to the fans to build the place because they had no money, obviously, and riveters and carpenters and roofers and painters and stuff actually gave their labour in building the original
Goodison Park.
Goodison Park.
Goodison Park.
Goodison Park, home of the People's Club. This is a church as well as a football ground. There's an actual church in the corner of it.
We've got Goodison Road.
And Bullens Road.
The Park End and the Gladys Street.
Archibald Leeds created this stadium. His signature is still on the inside of it in the crossbeam design. It's an actual trademark design. We were the first four-sided ground, then we were the first double-decker four-sided ground.
I think we've been the first and the last on a lot of things.
For a while, Everton were the foremost team in the city.
We won our first FA Cup in 1906. Sandy Young scored the goal. Then World War I was declared on us as champions. It's happened to us twice.
The Dixie Dean days.
Dixie Dean is Mr. Everton. Dixie Dean is our standards, who we attain to be. He's taught our children and grandchildren what it means to be the best and to just love the toffees. He never, ever, ever, for a minute, wanted to play for anybody else, anywhere. That's the point. And all the time he was getting bags and bags and bags of goals.
Everton were actually accepted as the premier club in football at that time.
Well, what happened was, Dixie walks out one door and Tommy Lawton, the boy wonder of English football, comes in the next door and he's just as good. Dixie schools him. Within 2 years, Joe Mercer, Tommy G, T.G. Jones, etc., we win the league. That's after Dixie leaves. And they say at that point, that is the greatest English side there's ever been. And then World War was declared on us again. So then we stagger out of the Second World War. Instead of being champions, we are now also rans. And it takes us 15 years to get back to where we were.
There are plenty of trophies in the trophy cabinet.
The Division 1 and 2.
FA Cup.
And with the European Cup Winners' Cup.
The kids all go on about swag now. Well, we had swag in them days because people knew that when they came here, they had a graft on. We had a proper side. It didn't have the Holy Trinity. It didn't have the beauty, the pristine magnificence of Harvey Kendall and Ball, but it had magnificence. Neville Southall was the greatest goalkeeper ever drawn breath. Like this 1970 team with the Holy Trinity team, that was the School of Science to many people.
School of Science.
School of Science.
The School of Science.
It was a quote that was bestowed on them.
It was a term applied by a journalist.
It's a philosophy of football.
It's a methodology. It's a mantra. It's a mission statement. It's not just 11 men on the park. It's beauty, but it's also standards and models and family. It's doing things right. That's what it is.
We're like, a week and a half away from going to a derby match.
And for the week before Derby week and the week after, one club will have bragging rights and the last thing you want is it to be the other club.
Do you know what? I just want to get there and get it gone.
It probably is my least favourite game of the season.
I don't like them.
Hate them. Hate them home all the way. I live next door I live 400 yards away from Liverpool.
You get lots of banter the week before. Everybody in work is talking about it.
As I'm walking the shop or I go to County Road for a butty or something, 20 people will be like, you're getting battered this week, Bally. That's just the way I love it. That's part and parcel. And this is like, not particularly match going lads. This can be someone knows your ma or your nana or something.
I've been in a band with Liverpool fans all my life, and we're friends first.
There's no hatred as such. There's a few divvies. You're always going to get that.
But majority of the time, there is a grudging respect.
The rivalry these days is very different to what it used to be. I remember going to derby matches in the 70s and 80s that weren't segregated, you know.
Swaps or spares, that's something you don't hear no more.
We used to be able to go to Anfield and stand on the Cop as an Everton fan, you know. And Liverpool fans, vice versa, would be all over Goodison when they played at Goodison.
You'd be outside at any derby, any swaps lad, any spares. That meant an Everton fan wanted an Everton ticket but had a Liverpool ticket, or vice versa.
It policed itself in some kind of respect.
I think authorities have perhaps caused a little bit of a divide.
Whereas now the segregation, I feel, it's entrenched mentality. There's a whole generation of kids have grown up and not known standing in Anfield or sitting in Anfield amongst their supporters.
But I still believe that is the last great inter-rivalry. It's all day, honestly. It is a fabulous game.
One of the current terrace chants, the School of Science is on its way back.
The School of Science, as they say, it's on its way back.
Yeah, there's a great tradition. We want to play football.
And Roberto Martinez.
Roberto Martinez.
Well, Bobby come in and hardly touched anything, and we were playing champagne football within weeks.
Martinez seems to fit the Everton philosophy. It's like a long lost glove, you know. It sort of just fits.
There's a great sense of togetherness in the club, and I think Roberto Martinez has actually enhanced that.
And he wanted me to sign up for Everton. I've met Tim Howard, Seamus Coleman, Stephen Pienaar, and Leon Osman, Barkley, Stones, Morales, Oviedo and Jags.
I want to see the kids win a trophy. Don't care what it is. I want to see these children dancing in the street. That's what I want, please.
Everton's 16% old. The shareholders are the fans.
So it's not all about the winning, it's about the coming together of the club.
We can maybe define a slightly different future for ourselves.
And we want to be a club under Martinez who win, get back to the top, but do it in the style that Everton have become famed for.
You know, we're the last of the great footballing tribes. If you look at every other Premier League club who the ownership of them clubs and the way they operate in business, we're probably more connected to our past than most other clubs. I think it's really important for every football fan to ask themselves the question is what is football for? What is the type of football club that you'd like to see? What's its purpose in the relationship from the communities that it has grown out of? And I'm not saying by saying this in an arrogant way that we're different than everyone else and we'll always be different. That's why we call ourselves the last of the Mohicans, because I'm sure at some point we'll be joining them all at that fireplace.